Fadi.
Jay, what are you telling me?
Good to see you again, bro. What's going on? You good,
seen
yeah?
you in like 3 months since the first podcast.
Khina, we were at the pub last week, but we're not going to tell anyone about that one.
We'll the narrative is that we were so successful, it got to your head, and then you took a social media hiatus.
Yeah, so basically what Fadi's talking about, we've had a bit of a break, and not because we needed one. It was more on my side. I've been a bit busy, so my fault. I'll take the hit.
Fans, bro. We've had to relocate our offices and everything because it was so successful.
I didn't want to go into the depth, but since you've said it, the expansion has been rapid after our 200 followers.
After 200 followers, we have a new what do you call it? Recording studio.
Yeah. We've designed it the exact same way as Fadi's mum's.
So you can't tell, but it's good to be back.
Good to be back, and today's topic is an interesting one. I think we talk quite a lot about it when we've been, ever since we came back from Iraq, and it's something that we were wanting to talk about. I don't know if you want to go into it and talk.
We can. It's kind of like a build on the previous one on our trip, but kind of we were there and now we're here, and this is kind of our home. Technically, it's our home.
But it's a weird one because I feel like it isn't. And I think us growing up as Assyrians, I was born in London, and I guess Fadi was born in Iraq.
I'm a freshie. I'm a fob.
And it's quite interesting because although we were both born in different countries, I feel like we both have had the same upbringing in the sense of like how our parents have brought us up and stuff. And I guess that kind of comes from where they were born and how they grew up. So like my parents were both born in Baghdad, Habanya. They left quite early, but obviously as they all came to the Western countries, they still had that traditional Assyrian upbringing or Middle Eastern upbringing.
Bro, your parents, your dad has an English accent and your mum has an American accent.
It's very confusing, bro.
My parents, fresh.
They're fresh, but they're cool though, innit? And like, they're always so hospitable. That's the one thing they did definitely bring with them from Atra is their kindness and their love.
Both of them, your parents as well.
Bro, like, whenever I come to Fadi's, the vibes are always immaculate. Food is sensational. Danny brings a shisha as well. He's sitting behind us, so I just have to give him some credit while he's sat over
Danny,
there.
my brother.
And like, yeah, the atmosphere is always positive. It's very friendly. You feel the love the minute you kind of come through the door. And I guess the same. Hopefully, you feel the same.
Absolutely. Actually, we'll discuss this offline.
We'll talk privately about this. I have a problem. But like the same love and hospitality that they got and they were raised with in Iraq was brought over here, and like we kind of have those same, I guess, takings from them and want to provide the same for people down the line. And it's interesting because even though I think your parents stayed longer in Iraq than mine did.
So very different to your parents. We left straight after I was born. So I was born in Iraq. We left in 95. And then, my parents studied in Iraq, did uni in Iraq, got married in Iraq.
Everything.
Love story in Iraq.
It's a very romantic. Rubber romance.
Romance. And then had me, moved here. So, so very different upbringing. They didn't study in the UK, so everything was new to them. Language, culture.
How did they find, like, coming here initially?
Well, they just had to make do with it, right? They just had to, it is what it is, the situation. Like, they couldn't go back. So you just have to make do, which is kind of the characteristics they instilled in, like, our family.
Yeah.
Or, like, me and my brother.
100%.
You just have to bite down on the gum shield and get on with it.
You could have any problem in your life as a Middle Eastern. You could be going through the maddest of maddest.
Bro, trust me.
And my mum would just tell me to take paracetamol or something, bro, or just tell me like
drink Sprite.
Yeah, bro,
Drink
Sprite.
Drink Sprite.
Why?
7-Up.
That's actually really funny because like there's loads of like Assyrian like remedies and like stories and
bro.
Any Assyrian you talk to, there's the same thing, like all the same folklore remedies.
Forget Oxford and Cambridge, bro. Just go to Iraq for a few years.
Stomach hurts, Sprite,
and sometimes stir it because the bubbles and stuff.
Or no, leave it to go stale and all the bubbles go away.
Yeah,
and you have to drink it. That's disgusting,
bro. Imagine opening a can of Sprite to just leave it there for an hour. Makes no sense. And like the other one, I had an ear infection. Maybe it's too much info, but I'm gonna say anyway. I had an ear infection once, and my granddad came to my house, and I'm like obviously holding my ear in pain, and he's like, "Muida." I'm like, "Baba, my ear hurts."
Yeah.
He goes, "Don't worry, I have the solution." And I'm like, "Shimmet Allah, bro. What
He's got it.
Doctor
He's got it. And
solution?"
You trust him.
He's my granddad. I have to trust him.
You trust him.
So I sit and wait, and he pulls out a pack of cigarettes. Well, bro, you don't even smoke, firstly. Where do you pull these bags of cigarettes from? So he obviously pops it open, he gets one. This guy lights the jigada. He takes my head to the window, the pinjari. He brings me like this to the thing, and he goes, stay still. I'm like, what's he going to burn me with a cigarette, bro? What's he going to do? Lights it. Goes to my ear, with a cigarette smoke in his mouth, and he goes... And the audio is going to ruin that, but that's the same noise I heard in my ears what you lot just heard, yeah?
Was it a placebo effect? Did you like instantly healed? And then,
bro,
like, half an hour later,
it got worse, Faddy. I had to go to the GP, bro. My ear got even worse.
Infected
Bro, 5 minutes. I'm like, Baba, I think it's hurting even more.
And then he slapped you.
Yeah. And then it obviously got even worse. It swelled up at that point. But like, some of these remedies are hit and miss, and predominantly miss. I don't know where they learned these things.
I remember when I was younger, I used to have really bad acne, like severely bad, like they used to be really big. And then we were going through every situation, every remedy, to find like the best way to sort it out.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
experiment, bro.
Yeah, everything I could do in-house before I actually went to a GP and a doctor to get it sorted out. That's another story for another day. Literally, I'm not no word of lie. My nan, rose water.
Rose water. What was the thought process behind
because she watched it on an Arabic TV show on like daytime TV, Arabic TV, and she was like, you know what, I saw it there and it worked for you.
I mean,
I kid you not, it made it much worse.
What more reliable of a source than daytime Arabic TV?
Daytime Arabic TV when you got nothing else better to do.
And when you need solutions, you go and watch the shows. Bro, even the drama behind them. I don't know if you've seen them.
Gosh.
And the way they fall, and then the music's like... And then they're just like in slow-mo, and then the reactions, and it's so dramatic, bro. I love it. But that's like another staple of a household, like when you grow up, right? You watch these shows, you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like my nan, my great-grandma, and still to this day, watches TV, doesn't let me change the channel.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to grab the plastic covered the remote control, can't touch it. She's like, what do I do?
Well, you can't even change it because it's all like stuck and everything.
Bro, my thumb's slipping on the cling film. I'm missing every button. And she doesn't let me go near it. She can barely walk, bless her. But she still will figure a way to stop me from getting the remote. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of different traditions and kind of things that we can talk about.
Where we're sitting right now is the guest room, or in Assyrian, the Otag. So we need to wrap this up quick because my mum's coming back from work and she's going to kill me if she finds out.
All right, so this has been the Gabara podcast.
I mean, no. That this isn't the Otag because...
Oh, the studio.
Different studio and that.
Well, she's probably at home and she won't notice because this isn't her house.
But it's just similar, yeah.
But like, even like the Otag is like a mad concept, yeah? Imagine you live in a house with a family and you have one room. And it's normally the biggest, nicest room of the house.
Front room of the house.
And you can't go in.
You're not allowed in it.
Is your banned. If you, like, bro, the only time I'd go was Christmas Day. Before the family, we'd have the Christmas tree there. So my mum would have to open up for us. Yeah. She had the keys. She was the groundskeeper of the Otag Erche. Bro, I'd go to...
She was Oxford Street, turning on the lights.
I swear, bro. She's there. She's got the keys swinging on a keychain. Unlocks it like this. We can go for Christmas. Or Easter. But any other time when guests do not come to the house, you better not be in there.
And you can't even look at the sofas. Like, let alone sit on them.
Yeah.
You can't look at them because automatically they'll get ruined.
The quality.
Because apparently if I sit on a sofa for what it's made for, quality's gone.
Sofas aren't for sitting.
Yeah.
They're for decoration.
For guests.
Yeah, bro. And just to add layer of security, they have the most obnoxious... Thank God your mum has sense. Yeah, like my mum, to be fair.
What, no cover?
No, plastic.
No plastic cover on me.
Bro, I'll sit on the couch and you hear...
and you sleep.
Bro. Why do I need to go to water parks when I have the couches in the house, bro?
Honestly.
And like, it's just ridiculous that that's normality. And when I try and explain it to people who aren't Middle Eastern, why I have cling film on the remote control or why I have plastic on my couch, it's a stress.
I'm glad it's not only Assyrians. I've heard a lot of my other third generation immigrants, same situation. So shout out to all the immigrants. Bro.
Shout out to the foreigners, mate.
To all the foreigners.
That's how it goes, bro. We know the struggles.
But bro, honestly, like, it's so funny how like my upbringing, when my parents came later here, your parents pretty much are English and American.
Yeah,
or like,
I'd say, yeah.
They're technically second generation immigrants.
I'd say, yeah.
Or first, maybe. Actually, the first generation, but they've grown up here, but the culture and the practices are identical.
Still engraved. And
identical.
And the thing is, if you talk to my dad, shout out Albert Tamu, because obviously he's on a few of my videos that I make, but people like him more than me. It's a bit awkward.
Yeah,
but
I like him more than you, to be honest.
I'll get him to come next week and he can cover my shift. My dad holds traditions. My mum holds traditions.
Yeah.
That's like a staple in our house.
Yeah,
we speak Surid in the house.
Yeah.
You know, we do certain things the way Assyrians do. We eat certain foods that Assyrians do. But when you hear my dad speak English, he sounds like the most British geezer ever.
Yeah.
And it's astonishing because he just switches. He can go from speaking really amazing, great English to then just suddenly sounding like the absolute freshest Assyrian who's just come straight from Atlas.
I love how he can flip that. My parents are just fresh.
But I feel like it's I think that has something to do with how long they've been in Atlas.
Absolutely. Like, there's a funny story. My mum, years ago, all at home, I think it was summer holiday, and then my dad was at work and my mum was at home, and back then we had a house phone.
Okay.
And then someone called the house phone, I think it was like British Gas or the bank or something. Someone called it asking for my dad. And obviously my mum, like, bless her, like, her English is a lot better now, but back then it was like
tough.
It was tough, especially coming here like in the mid-20s or late 20s to pick it up after just knowing Arabic and Assyrian. So someone calls and goes, I want to talk to your dad.
Okay.
Like, this person's asking, is this person home? And my mum's like, no, he's not home. And they're like, who's this? He goes, she is my husband.
She's my husband.
That's my husband. And then me and my brother were sitting in the room and we heard it at the time.
You must have been cracking up,
bro.
bro.
I to this day, me and my brother always laugh about it. We joke with my mum about it.
You have to.
Tears.
You can't.
Tears. We didn't even correct her. We just like cried.
No, don't correct her because it's more entertaining for you, bro.
She is my husband.
I had a similar story with my granddad, actually. So he went to the eye opticians. My family's gonna be fuming that I shared the story,
Mum
but
gonna kill me.
it's gonna be funny anyway.
For the clout.
So we need followers. This is why we're doing this. So my granddad goes to the eye opticians with my mum, and obviously they're sitting there and they're like, Mr. Tamu, do you mind if you close one eye? You know, he closes one eye. He's like, Mr. Tamu, you close the other eye. You close the other eye. The guy goes to my granddad. He goes, Mr. Tamu, can you blink for me? Why on earth did this guy decide to do this? I swear to God as well. He goes. So obviously he's doing that. Yeah, he's flicking his tongue out to the optician who's standing in front of him with the eye equipment. So magnifying tongue just flicking in his face. And then my mum's like, there's saliva on his magnifying glass, bro. How close my granddad's tongue is, bro. So then my mum just freaks out and she's like, La bab, I know. Oh, he starts cracking up, and then he's like, "Come on, and I didn't know you were gonna stop flicking your tongue in the middle of the appointment."
All the memories you can share with your kids in the future.
I just hope.
It's banter that me and my brother always talk about. Like, even like funny swear words they say. Like,
there's a lot.
There's just so many funny swear words. I'm like, hang on, you're just cussing yourself out here.
That's the ones. They call themselves son of a something, and you're like, why? Why are you swearing at yourself, bro? Yeah. And he's like, because I can't swear at you. Yeah. I'm like,
they call you a donkey, son of a donkey.
Yeah.
Which means you just called yourself a donkey as well.
Why would you cuss yourself out?
I'm like, do better, bro.
But yeah, hey, listen, if you're going to come at me with smoke, bro, at least come with something stronger. But like, they do it all the time. And like, I never understood it, but I guess their reason is that they don't want to swear at you directly. So they swear at themselves, which, I don't know, it's kind of deep, but that's how it is, isn't it?
So yeah, my parents got married in Iraq. And they met in Iraq.
They did.
Which was a bit more conservative than where your parents met.
I feel like your parents went in the most iconic Assyrian way possible. And I'm here for it, bro.
I don't think they did. My parents, they weren't like a classic introduced each other.
They did?
No. It was, they met in church. Cute.
That's very wholesome.
Yeah. My dad, bit of a dog back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll cut that out. Don't worry. We won't have that bit.
Bit of a player back in the day.
That's a better one. Yeah. We'll get a player.
My dad was a bit of a player back in the day.
Yeah.
And what he would do is, I think outside of like the school, or the uni or the college.
Hi, Abdul.
Hello.
How are you? Okay.
What's
to do? It's okay. No.
Bس Allah لا لا الله.
Allah.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. لا لا بطل. لا تخمنها.
We should get your mum here, sit in the middle. أتنخى منها. Thank you, auntie. But since
So she's panicking, bro. She just saw her otagad adkhe, bro. She's.
But you're gonna get in trouble. No?
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
you're
leave.
going home, bro.
And then you're gonna
Alright,
get.
thanks for the second and last podcast.
Yep. Nice to see you.
Nice to
Take
meet
care. We're hiring for a new
yeah.
co-host. If anyone wants to join.
Whoever wants it as a CV, send your CV to.
We'll get the next one sorted. Daddy will have to step up. It's in the will.
He let this happen. He's going as well as I am.
Yeah, you're down as well, bro. You're down as well.
Come on,
What were we gonna say? Yeah, so your parents went through the traditional way.
Yeah,
In a
less
way.
traditional. They were like more kind of Western love story in the Middle East, conservative Middle East.
They actually got to meet
They actually
with choice.
well, not choice. My dad was like very sly about it.
Is
He used
it?
to send my mum letters and stuff. They're cute and that.
Yeah, I see Humble moving.
I see my
Humble.
dad. I'm like, is that you?
What's
Yeah,
you,
come
bro?
on,
I
is
see
that
you, my guy.
But yeah, he used to drive. I think outside of the college and stuff like that, and then waited for my mum to come out, and then like
No
just, like,
way.
beep the horn and stuff like that. It was very cute.
That is proper
Very
romantic
cute, yeah.
stuff, bro.
Rubber romance.
You're filming me, huh?
Film like.
It's an actual movie, bro.
But even then, it was like politics in the house and stuff like that. My mum wasn't from my dad's village.
Wait, so where's your mum? I guess for context.
Yeah, so my dad's Al-Qushnaya and my mum's Urmijneta.
Oi.
Banging mix. Mix.
But that's forbidden, bro.
That's forbidden, bro. So that my grandma, my dad's mum, was like
Fuming. Absolutely raging.
Why are you not looking at the same village?
Bro, and the thing is, that classic Chaldean Assyrian rivalry still happens to this day.
It makes no
bro.
sense. It's the same thing.
I really don't understand it. And to those who say we're different, grow up, please.
Fight me.
We're the same.
Fight me.
I've said it. Fadi said it. Meet us in London by Big Ben, and we'll scrap you if you think.
Big Benjamin.
Big Benjamin.
Jura Benjamin.
Oh, Gabara Benjamin. Orzele.
Orze.
Mashallah. But like, it's a beautiful way to meet, to be fair.
Honestly, and it was so funny because like my dad was like one of the first people to do it.
Really?
Ambush, so he like set the stall out and everyone.
Bro, your dad's trend-setting, you know.
G, bro, he's a G, honestly. But
So if you want the romance tips, you shout Ammo.
yeah,
Babak
talk to my
Fadi.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll give you the tips and tricks. It's kind of funny because similar in a way, not so much villages, but my parents came here quite young.
Villages Ealing Parable.
Yeah, Ealing and Greenford. It was very forbidden. You know, Nashid Greenford or Ealing. So my parents, similar way in the sense of not so much villages, but my mum grew up in Chicago, so she was born in Iraq, but moved to Chicago. Chi-Town, my favourite city in the US. And then my dad grew up in London, which is alright as well. But basically, they met through a family friend. So my mum's cousin was dating his brother, my dad's brother.
Yeah.
So obviously, they went to the brother's house and my dad's house.
Yeah.
And they were like, Abi, you know, there's a guest downstairs.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. Erbele, you know, you can't just sit upstairs.
And how did you do it? I love the story. How did
So-
he introduce himself?
This is why he moves mad, yeah. My man came out of the shower, and this is a true story.
Yeah.
Came out of the shower, he's dripping. Obviously, he's got the pectorials, bro. He was working out.
He
back
still
in the
does,
day.
bro. Your dad's stacked.
Yeah, he could snap me in half, but I don't tell him that. But he worked out, came to shower, came downstairs in his towel, and he was topless. And he went and shook my mum's hand.
He was
in front
feeling
of everyone.
himself.
Yeah, he's like,
you know
he's
what?
like, what are you saying, babe?
I'm a pump
You
today,
good, yeah? What's going on?
He's
I'm Albert.
He walked around like that.
Yeah, bro. He broke the doorway.
He went
to
in
get through.
sideways.
Yeah. Sorry. Squeezed through the thing and introduced himself. And my mum just thought, what a weirdo. Like, why is he topless, bro? This is a bit nuts. My dad doesn't know that, but now he does. And then, yeah, they hung out while they were in London. Yeah, bro. But it's mad because, like, long distance. Yeah, so they met on holiday.
Yeah.
My mum came to holiday. And when they had to go, they were like, oh, sad times. We'll see how it goes. And then they stayed in contact and did long distance for 4 years, bro.
Shout out to your parents, bro.
Yeah, it's long. It's
Lovely,
long.
honestly, the sweetest people.
Wedding in London, engagement in Chicago. That was the contract agreement. And then now my mum moves here, but she's got the British sense of humour, which I'm happy about.
She does.
Because it would have been
She
stressful.
does, and she's got that American twang as well. So.
Yeah, it's a good balance. But yeah, I mean, and they're happily married.
So as cool as your parents are,
Yeah.
they're Assyrian, obviously, as we spoke about. Was there any point, which I've threatened it, but I think
I'm a bit
to call
nervous.
child services.
Oh, bro.
Because we all messed around as kids, but
We
I
did.
think as from immigrant parents,
It's different. The Abu Yusuf, bro. They were very Abu Yusuf, to say the least. And like, it's quite funny actually. So one time I was I was being good. Obviously. No, I was being bad. I was causing problems at home, misbehaving, scheming, and then my parents, obviously start giving me the right and left, maybe a belt, maybe a TV remote. Just depends on their mood.
Did they give you the option?
Nah, I used to cover myself.
Yeah.
And my mum would be like, "Put your arms down," and I'd be like, "What?" She just put your arms down. So obviously I don't want to.
No defense,
Put my whole defense down. Bro, just black belt. Finished me off. I was gone.
Give the quick one too.
Yeah, bro. I had no time. It was too fast. And then, so one time I was in school and my friends were like, "Jay, if your parents ever threaten you or like hit you, just tell them you're going to call child services." Yeah. And, it's calm. They'll get scared. I swear to God, bro. They'll get scared. They're not going to do anything. Yeah. I was like, do you know what?
Saved him.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro.
Thanks, Jeremy. Good idea, mate. So obviously I go home and I'm not behaving.
Yeah.
And my mum comes to, standard 1-2 jab, left hook,
and
uppercut.
you're getting brave. You're like, I've got the response now.
Bro, I now know what to say. I was like, "Mum, if you hit me again, I'm going to call child services."
Yeah.
And bro, when I tell you the most menacing reaction, she goes, "Child services?" She's looking at me. I'll look into the camera to show how it's child services. Child services, clear. Bro, pulls out the landline phone.
Cool, go on.
She obviously doesn't know the number, but she's calling my bluff. So she's like, beep, 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 beep. And I'm like looking, and I'm like, "What are you doing, Mum?" And she's like, "Call them." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I'm not stuttering, bruv. Call them, innit?"
Then I stutter.
And I'm like, no. And I just hang up.
You got my blow. Go ahead.
And then I put my defense down, and my mum just finished me off, bro. You can't call child services.
Mum, you can't.
They'll get beaten up by my parents.
My mum, I once did it years ago, and then she proper guilt tripped me. She goes, "Huh? Do you want them to take you away from me? Huh? You're gonna go. Who you gonna go live with?"
That's toxic, bro. That is toxic, bro.
Manny bashaloch dolma or whatever.
You think they're gonna make you dolma in that place? You think they're gonna do
She had me at dolma, to be honest. I mean,
you know what? Fair enough. I'll go upstairs. I'll take the L.
Yeah, but do you know what? I think when my parents came here, my mum missed the trick, bro. She could have gone to the Olympics.
What do you mean?
Bro, the slipper throwing.
Oh, bro, I thought you were serious. I was like, Olympian, yeah?
Bro, I go around, I dodge corners and everything. That slipper.
They'll still go around. That missed because it wasn't Fadi's mum, by the way. That was Danny who threw that. Terrible shot, bro. The mums have the curvature with the way they throw. There is no way you won't get hit with the chikalta.
That David Beckham whip.
Bro, curving. Yeah. Roberto Carlos free kick.
Honestly.
Outside the post in. You feel it straight on your face, sometimes on your arm. Sometimes
it'll get you in the perfect spot.
It's a sniper.
Honestly.
It's a sniper, bro. The minute you can hear the aerodynamics, bro.
You can hear it before you see it. You hear it before you see it. It hits you. You see it at the end. You see it when it falls on the floor.
That's because you're on the floor.
I'm on the floor with it. And then...
Oh, that's what hit me.
Oh, we love them though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not to say I hate them because obviously they're my parents.
We are the people. We are the people we are today because of our upbringing.
Although there were some hardships coming, then beat downs and learning my lessons, I feel like the way they looked after us and brought both of us up is incredible. And I wouldn't be who I was and you wouldn't be who you were without them raising us and taking care of us. And they meant well with everything that they did. And for them, it's tough, bro. Imagine coming to a brand new country.
Well, they face challenges. So not only it's hard enough raising kids and making ends meet, but also a whole new culture.
You have to adapt.
And you wouldn't. The people around you, not everyone's going to be welcoming.
No, of course. I've had experiences where I was born here, and I haven't felt welcomed. I was in high school actually, and I was on the bus coming home, and some old lady, she was a white old lady. She was sat in the front of the bus. I tap my Oyster card, go in. She's staring. I'm like, I don't know why she's staring, but my parents were just like, just be nice. Always be nice to people. That's how it's taught. It's cool. Sat on the front. She kept staring. I was like, do you know what? Let me just say hi to her because she keeps looking at me. I was like, oh, hi, how are you? She said, you don't belong here. And me being in high school.
To a kid?
Yeah, bro. I was maybe, 15, 14?
I know you were the same height at 15.
I was only 5'11", bro. You know what I mean? I was small, bro. I was small. And it was sad because I didn't think she meant as in because I'm foreign. I thought she meant I was on the wrong bus or something.
Could you comprehend what she said at the time?
In that moment, she said it no. Because I was just like, and I genuinely said, oh no, this is this is my bus to get home.
No, I know where I'm going. Let's go.
Basically. And I was telling her, don't worry, you know, sweetheart, it's fine. And then she turned around, she was like, no, you don't belong in this country. Then it hit me. Because I was like, oh, she's being racist. Oh, crazy. But then, I mean, I responded in probably not such a great way, but I was upset. I was angry. I was telling her, like, you're an old woman, you know, I'm paying your pensions and, like, you know, stupid stuff. But
you're paying her pensions as you're in high school.
In high school.
In high school,
you know, I was selling chocolates and sweets, bro. I was paying my taxes, bro. And, like, obviously it wasn't the best way to respond, but you can't help but be frustrated because I did say one thing which made a point. I'm just as British as you are.
Yeah.
I was born here.
Yeah.
I have a British passport. I pay taxes if I was to work.
Of course.
I go to school. I speak English. I live the same cultural lifestyles that you do. The only difference is my skin. And, like, I felt bad then. I can't even imagine how my parents felt when they came here.
Yeah.
Because they must have had it way worse than us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The abuse and... They go through trauma, bro. They had trauma in Iraq, and then they have trauma here because of probably some racial abuse and experiences they had.
And they probably didn't even expect it as they came here.
Not at all, man. Not at all. Like from their perspective, the way my dad was explaining it, he was quite young, but his, I guess, perspective to it was like we just needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
And the idea of coming to the UK or the US or Australia was an amazing thing to look forward to. And there were probably some harsh realities that they faced. I'm sure you've had some experiences as well, bro, where you've been racially abused. It's annoying.
And it's not the only one time I remember, and by and large, like very welcoming. Like the UK has been very welcoming.
Yeah.
And like majority of the people are incredible. It's a lot of immigrants where we live, especially in the west of London.
Yeah.
The majority of it is, and it's such a multicultural society.
It's a mixed bucket, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's I like it. I think it's.
I love it. You get to like
food.
Bro, madness.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, but the only time I experienced it was with other Assyrians when I used to play for Club Assyria. Shout out Club Assyria.
Come on.
Holding it down in the UK. Day. But when I used to play, I was the goalkeeper at 5'6".
I remember.
I was the goalkeeper, and it's like the second or third game we played. We were at like this big field against like this really... Okay, it wasn't anything to do with the other team. It was just spectators. Like
people watching.
Two people. They were quite drunk, to be fair. It was Sunday morning, so...
No better time to have a drink than a Sunday morning.
Quite intense. I don't know where they came from, but they come out and everything. I'm in goal, and then nothing's really happening in front of me. And then they're just asking me, like, oh, what club are you? What team are you? And I'm like, oh, probably they're just asking about who's playing.
Who you play for, what the game is.
I'm like, we're called Club Assyria. And they're like, Club Refugees? And I'm like,
Refugees?
And I'm like, and at that point I didn't comprehend. Because the ball was coming to me. I'm like, I need to stop.
Keepers! 1 second.
And then after I released the ball and everything, I'm like, what? They're still there. And I'm like, they're laughing and just keep saying it. And I'm like, oh, this is what they mean.
This is racism,
right? This is what they mean.
This is what they're saying.
It's mental.
It's disgusting and like it's crazy. Like a place like London, you should have the expectation that it's going to be an incredibly diverse city. Yeah. Loads of different kind of ethnicities and cultures and religions. Like it's a mixed bucket. That's what it is. And like it still blows my mind that in 2023, bro, there's still people that are so ignorant.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just think they're uneducated, and I don't even mean that in school. Just life. They're not streetwise. They're not aware. They don't have any logic or common sense.
There's no education.
Yeah,
bro. Educated in the whole. Well, just take the chance or the opportunity or just the time to talk to someone who's a different race to you or different
100%.
upbringing to you,
bro. I'll sit if I don't know. One of my boys is Ethiopian.
Yeah.
I've never had their food in my life.
Yeah.
So I was like, bro, let's just eat Ethiopian. I've never eaten it before.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. Like, it's probably, he's like, oh yeah, it's actually vegan. A lot of vegan food. And he's giving a breakdown.
Yeah.
Bro, went to the restaurant, was there with his cousin, sat down, and we had the most incredible experience. He's telling me about his culture. He's telling me about the flavors, where all this stuff comes from. And he's so proud of it. And it's just sick to know that I have a friend from every single culture and race and background. And like, you become so educated. And that's why I encourage people to travel as well, for example, because you learn a lot about that. Like, even on the level of Iraq, when I went to Atra, there were so many new things that I learned about our culture in the sense of like classic behavior, the way they maneuver, the way they socialize. Even Iraq was a brand new experience in my first time. And like, it's just little things like that that kind of teach you the beauty and like how unique each of these backgrounds are. And I just think it's important. I think it's very important.
And with that, do you find challenges with practically being British, being brought up British, but then have the novelty of at home being Assyrian. Do you have that culture clash?
It's a weird one because you navigate. I mean, if you listen to how I sound, bro, I mean, to those who aren't from here, I sound very London.
Yeah.
Like, my accent is very specific to here.
Yeah.
But, like, people don't realise the depth of Assyrian culture and how much, you know, enriched history we have and how great it is. And it's weird to find that balance because one day you'll spend a day at work with your colleagues who are English or, you know, I don't know, African, who are Caribbean, wherever they're from. So you're kind of in this mixed bucket and you don't really get to embrace your culture as much. Although it's kind of unique because you're the only one there, you get to show it off. But that compared to like going around a whole space full of Assyrians, you're in that tradition. You're in, you know, the classic motives.
Yeah.
You know, playing pool on Assyrian club on Fridays, or you know, backgammon's you're hearing dice, you're hearing things move, dominoes getting slammed onto the tables, people eating, smoking shisha. Like, there's so many different things like that in the Middle East that you don't get so much here, and it's weird to navigate as you get older. I think, when you're younger, it's hard to navigate. Yeah. But as you get older, I find myself embracing it more and more, to be honest.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think growing up, like I went to a Catholic school, so a lot of my friends were like European, Irish. I love like the great community and great people too, but I always question. I'm like, why they're different to me from like hairstyles, or and like I naturally have like curly hair.
Yeah,
and like hairstyles and dark hair, and like some of my features that I want to, like, obviously as kids you want to kind of mirror your friends.
Yeah,
and like you couldn't do that because of we're different cultures. We brought up differently.
Of course. But
as you grow up, you learn to embrace that.
Yeah,
and then now we're in such a educated society where it's all accepted wherever you go. Like your culture, and people want to learn more about you.
Agreed.
I want to know who you are and like where you've come from.
And nothing's better than when someone asks questions about Assyrians, and you're like.
And nothing's better when someone says, "Oh, I know who the Assyrians are.
Bro,
you guys are this." And I'm like,
especially here.
My heart.
There's not many Assyrians here. Like, our community is quite small, so when someone says, "I know who Assyrians are," I'm just like, "You do?"
Yeah.
Whereas like in Chicago, I can't speak Assyrian.
Yeah.
My mum would be like, and you're like. Wait, what?
Yeah,
don't speak Assyrian? Because I'll swear or I'll say something inappropriate, and then they'll turn around and go, Suraiton, and you're like, oh my god, I just swore and said all this stuff in front of him. I'm so embarrassed.
We've always been brought up with, like, we're Assyrian, like we have our beautiful culture.
We do.
And then whoever you want to introduce into that culture needs to embrace that culture.
100%. So
obviously, for me, I'd want someone to embrace that culture as well. A potential future.
I think that's an essential, and I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I think it works both ways.
Absolutely.
Right? I can sit here and say I'm an Arturaya, Gabara, Arya, blah, blah, blah. But like, I have to have the respect to my partner or my potential wife, if she's out there somewhere, shout me. I think it's important for people to embrace culture. Like, I'm a very proud Assyrian, and I think a lot of people know that.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah, in case you couldn't notice by a lot of the things that I'm wearing
and Assyrian appreciation.
And the things
Shout
I
out
do.
Assyrian appreciation.
Thank you, bro.
Great
Thank
page.
you. Quick plug there. Just give it a follow. Anyway. Back to our real podcast.
Yeah, stop deflecting and answer the question.
Oh, I am deflecting a bit.
Are you going to marry an Assyrian or not?
Okay, so my short answer is yes. I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I think it makes things a lot easier to explain. Like, not having to explain, so much about like certain things. How come I can't see your parents yet? How come we can't stay over?
Yeah.
There's certain rules and regulations that are unwritten, but they're written at the. You know what I mean? So having to explain that to people who aren't from the same culture, and on top of that, constantly giving context to why we throw water on cars when we go on holiday, or why we throw eggs on tires, and do you know what I'm saying?
Car's new, man. Don't ruin the
car.
No,
it's annoying, and it probably smells after a while. Honestly. It's an egg, bro. So having to give people like so much context into it, I think can be a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
But if they're really receptive and they're really accepting to it, then man, you enjoy it. Like, it's a very good thing to share with someone. Like, culture brings you closer. But it should be reciprocated. And I say this to anyone who's Assyrian who may marry a non-Assyrian. Firstly, just to make it very clear to everyone, I have absolutely no problem. And I think it's an incredible way to learn.
To do that,
I think when people say you have to marry an Assyrian, I understand it from nationalistic perspective and stuff. But the reality is, bro, if I'm not feeling an Assyrian, I'm not feeling an Assyrian. And you don't know who you fall for and all that cheesy stuff. I won't go into too much depth. But I think it's important to appreciate and respect culture, and it goes both ways. So if anyone is dating someone who's not Assyrian, please respect their culture and ask questions and learn, because it will actually bring you closer together. I'm not a therapist. That's not like therapeutical advice. That's just something I've learned.
And you might find some commonalities between our culture and other cultures. Like we said, there's loads of commonalities in other non-European cultures.
Yeah, 100%.
Which you can share. And actually some, like I've got friends from Ireland, like the hospitality aspect to it, and like you don't go to someone's house and you don't leave the house without being fed, for example. Like it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, from my point of view, I think people are more receptive nowadays, and people want to know about cultures, and our culture is so beautiful.
It is.
People are going to want to know, and like it's hard for you to not like want to embrace our culture. But I've heard success stories of like non-Assyrians marrying into Assyrians, end up speaking Assyrian.
Oh yeah, mate.
And I'm like, where the hell have you learned that? Like I've seen like Asians, as in like Far East Asia, like China,
really
speaking Assyrian. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
I've heard this in Australia. There's an area of Fairfield.
Yeah, Fairfield.
I got told by so many Assyrian friends of mine in Fairfield. They know who they are, but then they'd say like, "Oh, we actually have Chinese people who speak Assyrian," and I'm like, "That is mental, but it's sick as well." Like
it's banging. I think. I think, and it's on us to like teach people and to educate.
Of course. I have a friend of mine who's English. He probably listened to this. Big up Henry, but. He used to come to our house and like we'd feed him, and he heard my friend Michael say "Yummy shukla," right? Yeah. She's pouring food.
Yeah.
He went and said it once randomly at my house, and my mum was just like, "What?" And we all just looked, and he's like, "Yummy shukla," and he just starts eating the dolma like it's nothing. I'm like, "Bro, you realise you're basically Assyrian now? You just told my mum off. Like, you know, you're in now. You're in the club." And he says "basliwa" as well. If he's being honest, and obviously it's chikalta, like you shouldn't really say it, but. You know, some people will say, "Oh, I'm speaking the truth," or you know. So I remember one time, I don't remember what we were talking about, but he turned around, and he's like, "Nah, bro." He said something mad, and I was like, "No, there's no way that's true." And he's like, "Nah, basliwa." And the thing is, I was so astonished, and I was laughing so much, but I also believed him because he said basliwa.
He said it, bro.
He spoke the truth.
I swear. So
cool. You said it. I'm not going to argue.
You said it. Sorry, bro.
But it's cool for people to embrace. Like, there was an Assyrian Samoan wedding I saw on YouTube.
Beautiful. I saw it. I think I saw it on TikTok.
TikTok.
And the culture, like, it's very different, but also works. Honestly.
But it works.
It works.
And there's some common ground. Like, I don't think everyone just thinks Assyrians are super unique in what they do. There's a lot of similarities and crossovers.
Yeah.
So like to see Samoans and Assyrians get married and they both love their culture. That's exciting. Like, I think that's such a sick thing to look forward to in terms of upbringing.
Yeah.
You know, some difficult conversations maybe. Like for kids, it can be kind of confusing, but as long as both parents are receptive. As long as both parents are receptive and they sort of explain it equally and it's balanced and it's sort of not so much lean towards this. This is me. Like,
that's the thing I think, and I've probably gone into my next kind of easy segue into it is kids and language. That you've got two different. I think it's probably even more complicated if you say we're Assyrian. If you end up marrying someone who's non-Assyrian, who's not even English background, who has a different language as a first language.
That's complex.
There's 3 languages in the mix there.
It's mad.
How do you navigate that?
You can't. And you'd be lost. I think it's balance at the end of the day. Like, I think if the parents, like I said, if they're both sort of explaining it equally and educating them in all aspects, and just let the child take a natural interest, because if you're shoving culture down their throat, you don't want anything to do with it.
It has to be kind of natural as well, I think.
I agree.
Growing up, like I didn't sit and learn Assyrian. I grew up with it.
And you speak it.
And I speak it.
It's in the house.
Yeah, and I think naturally people grow up. The kids will grow up doing it, but I think it's on us. And one thing I learned in Iraq, which a lot of the people there were telling us, was don't forget your tongue. Don't forget your mother tongue.
Of course.
Don't forget your mother tongue.
Say it in Assyrian, because they always said it the exact same way. Every single person we spoke to would say it the exact same way. And it's true, though. Because
it is true, yeah.
You know, down the line, listen to us both now, like, we're speaking English. Yeah. And obviously that's for people to understand. But, like, a lot of the time we do, whether it's at work with friends, you know. At home sometimes we do. We can't help it. If we don't learn and preserve the language and continue to teach our children and to kind of, build that strength, continue that strength of culture and be proudness and learning the language and all that. If we don't continue that, we'll get wiped out. Like, it's our responsibility. It's everyone's responsibility to ensure your culture it's everyone's responsibility to make sure that the culture is retained.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone can do that in different ways. Bro, you could have a lamasu sat in your house, yeah. No, honestly, and if someone sees that and asks, you talk about it.
Absolutely.
You know, you tell people. It's done in so many different ways. It could be really subtle things. It could be tattoos. It could be, why do you guys all drink chai sada? Why do you have a mat for everything? Like, there's so many funny and interesting segues into educating people about culture. It doesn't have to be boring.
Yeah.
You know?
All we know is the Western society, because that's where we live.
Mm-hmm.
But the traditions I've grown up with my parents, like, I'm going to carry them on.
Of course.
Carry them from the generations that come after me.
And I actually saw this on an Instagram post. You know, sometimes on those reels where you see those really cheesy, like, relationship kind of things, right? There was one, it was like really important conversations to have. And one of them was like culture, like what traditions in your family do you want to keep and retain and pass on to the children? Because if you obviously come from two different families, you know, that's a lot of traditions. You can't keep them all.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like having conversations with your partners who may be non-Assyrian about how some of these core values are really important. It's a great conversation to have.
Absolutely.
And that's ways you can keep culture retained in family and upbringing. Social media is great as well. There's loads of people educating about our culture.
And there's so much access to information. And you can't erase history. Our history is so rich. I mean, we were barbaric at times, but also...
pretty aggressive, to be fair.
But we repented, so we're good now.
Yeah. But like, historical landmarks, you know, the amount of things we discovered, the amount of things we created. The first library, we were mathematicians, we had scientists, we had people, we developed into iron weaponry. Our farming technology was incredible, bro.
We made keleche, bro.
Keleche, dolme, tachin, couldn't bro. We've made this with beer. Beer was made by Assyrians. Like, there's so much cool things that are currently being used in this world that people don't realize Assyrians made it, and that's the biggest flex of it all.
But yeah, I think that's probably a good way to end.
All right, see you later.
Yeah, safe.
If you had any advice to people in terms of how they can retain and keep culture in a Western country, because it's difficult to navigate, right? So if you had to leave people with advice on how to do that, what would you say?
Language, like I said, is very important.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speaking or you want to if you want to ensure that the language doesn't disappear, you're always going to speak English outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You leave through the door, you got it in schools, you got it at work, you got it at uni, you got it wherever, social activities with your
environments
friends.
And stuff.
But one thing my parents always taught me, and has always stayed with me, is as soon as you enter the house, that is your first culture, and that is where kind of they say you never speak English at home.
Mm-hmm.
Although we're doing it now, but for the context of this, as soon as you walk into the house, we speak Assyrian. There's no English. Even if me and my brother talking to each other, it goes, no, you speak Assyrian with each other, and you cultivate it in the home, because the culture outside of the culture you live in, like, automatically you can't escape it. So I'm always going to be in the British culture, of course, in my everyday life. But when I'm in my house, I'm brought up with the Assyrian culture. So whether it's just one culture or two cultures, I think it's important that your upbringing, or in the future generations that you bring up, that you instill that culture in the house, because ultimately when they leave, they're going to be picking up something else as well.
Of course. And that's an amazing point. I think starting at home and taking responsibility and ownership for it is really important. I agree 100%. And I think it's a good way to look at it. Me and my siblings do that. Sometimes we make fun of each other. Like, even when we speak Surda, we joke around, but then after we correct each other if there's a mistake made, or you know, things like that. And it's a fun way to keep it in the house. One thing I would say that I've learned only very recently, because I've spoken to Fadi about this, we've had many conversations off camera about it, but I was never proud to be Assyrian. And I'll be honest, like, I'll say it transparently. I wasn't a big fan of the community as a whole, and I found it very difficult to migrate myself into it. And maybe that was my fault in the sense of I was spending too much time out of it. You know, my parents would say, go club, go Umrah, there's loads of youth. And I'd be like, nah, I don't want to. I don't really care for culture. Then I went to Iraq for the first time, changed my whole perspective. And now...
No, you're the biggest Tanaya, no.
Bro, there's people bigger than me, bro. But, like, I'm proud. Very proud. And I think I surrounded myself with like-minded people. The likes of you, Danny and Nicole, they're probably going to get gassed that we've said their names on the podcast. But Shammi, Nina, these are like people, family and friends who are really proud, and they're in that similar space to me. And, you know, we're both in similar spaces. So I'd say try your best to surround yourself with Assyrians and like-minded people. You can find people that are similar to you that are Assyrian. I used to think you couldn't, but there are people.
I was exactly the same, and yeah, I was proven wrong.
I just think now, like, we hang out, bro. Like, we've known each other for 15 years, but only the last year we probably really hung out, and that's not a bad thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
But I just know we both think the same. We look the same. Well, that's why we're doing this. To be honest, this is probably a massive factor of it. But unfortunately, we have to spend time together. But we both wanted the same things, and we both had the same ideas. So when you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, your culture will retain with it, you know?
Yeah, so. That's a great point. That is a great point. I think to finish off with what we did last time, and a common theme is the Gabara or Gabare.
The Gabara of the Gabara. Of the month or the episode?
This episode.
Okay.
And I think I've got it.
Go on.
And it's going to be really cheesy, but bear with me. I think the Gabara of the podcast has got to be our parents.
100%.
It's got to be the first generation immigrants, Assyrian immigrants that came here and maintained the culture.
100%. I think they've done a lot more than we think and realize as people, as children. Even your parents, whoever's watching, like, or listening, our parents have done insane things to get here, to give us the opportunity to be educated, to study, to work, to live a good life like this. I mean, the Valley's House is beautiful. They've grafted for this. They've done everything they can for this. My parents worked their whole lives just to get us in this country. And they still love us to death. They still care for us. They still retain culture. They still care too much. It's annoying, but they care too much. Bit too much. But all these things they still manage to do whilst navigating as immigrants in this country. And I think that's like an incredibly powerful and respectful thing.
They do deserve it for this month. Next month, maybe someone else.
We'll see. We'll talk about that next month. If there's anyone who you think would be interesting to have,
that's a good point.
Let us know.
Give us a shout.
We have people in mind. I think the next person we can maybe drop a bit of a hint, but should we drop a little something? This guest is someone who's quite close with us. I think we've gone on and hang out with them quite a lot.
Yeah.
If we're thinking about the same person, are they related to me?
They are related.
Okay, yeah, we're thinking about the same person. I just want to make sure.
Okay, let me just survive. Post this.
Yeah, I'll see what your mum does.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. And
Pshenah.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yalla,
see you. Yalla, bye.
Yalla, bye.
Yalla,
Yalla,
bye.
bye.
Yalla,
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Oh, that was the wrong button.